Hi children, welcome to History class, Chapter 4, The Mughal Empire, Part 2. Let's recall the main points of the last class. Mughal Empire was one of the most important empire of Indian history. Babur established Mughal Empire in India. Other famous Mughal emperors were Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. They introduced a number of economic and military reforms. Mansabdars and Jagirdars were the most important posts of the Mughal Empire. Now we are going to discuss about Sabt and Zamindars. Sabt was a revenue system that was framed during the Mughal period. Zamindars are those who used to collect the taxes from the farmers. The main source of income of the Mughal rulers was tax on the produce of the peasantry. The peasants paid taxes to headmen or local chieftains. Akbar's revenue minister was Todarmal. He carried out the survey of crop yields, prices and areas cultivated for 10-year period, that is from 1570 to 1580. Tax was fixed on the basis of this survey. Each province was divided into revenue circles with its own revenue for each crop. Zamindars exercised more power in some areas. They exploited the peasants. This sometimes led to rebellion. Sometimes Zamindars and peasants allied together and rebelling against Mughal authority. These revolts challenged the stability of the Mughal Empire at the end of 17th century. Akbarnama and Ain-i-Akbari. Abul Fazl wrote a 3-volume history of the reign of Akbar. It was titled as Akbarnama. Abul Fazl was one of Akbar's close friends. First volume of Akbarnama dealt with Akbar's ancestors. Second volume recorded the events of Akbar's reign. Ain-i-Akbari is the third volume which dealt with Akbar's administration, household, army, revenue and the geography of the empire. It also provides rich statistical details about crops, yields, prices, wages and revenues. A closer look at Akbar's policies. Akbar was one of the greatest Mughal emperor of India. He ruled from 1556 to 1605. He implemented broad features of administration. Abul Fazl described about this in his book Akbarnama and Ain-i-Akbari. Akbar divided the empire into provinces called subas. These subas were governed by a subedar, who carried out both political and military functions. Each province had a financial officer called as Diwan. Subedar was supported by many other officers to maintain peace and order in the suba. These officers were categorized as military paymaster, also called as Bakshi, the minister in charge of religious and charitable patronage, also known as Sadar, military commanders or Faujudars, and the town police commander, also known as Kotwal. The nobles of Akbar had large armies and they had access to large amount of revenue. From the beginning of Akbar's reign, the nobles were loyal to the king, but By the end of 17th century, their loyalties to the empire weakened by their own self-interest. Akbar's policy of Sulfikul. Sulfikul is an Arabic term literally meaning peace with all. Akbar had this policy during his reign. When he was at Fatehpur Sikri, he discussed with leaders of different religions. He was interested in the religion and social customs of the people. He realized that religious scholars who emphasized ritual and dogma were often bigots. Bigot, an individual who is intolerant of another person's religious beliefs or culture. The term dogma means a statement or an interpretation declared as authoritative with the expectation that it would be followed without question. Bigot's teachings created division and disharmony amongst the people. These thoughts led Akbar to the idea of Sulfikul. The idea of Sulfikul was not to discriminate between people of different religion in his kingdom. It focused on a system of ethics, honesty, justice, peace that was universally applicable. Abul Fazl helped Akbar in framing a vision of governance around this idea of Sulfikul. This idea of Sulfikul was followed by Jahangir and Shah Jahan. Noor Jahan's influence in Jahangir's court. Mehrunisa married Jahangir in 1611 and received the title Noor Jahan. She remained loyal and supportive to her husband Jahangir. She had a great influence in the court of Jahangir as emperor used to take a very important decision with her advice. Mughal Empire in the 17th century and after. The administrative and military efficiency of the Mughals led to great economic and commercial prosperity. During that time, foreign travelers visited India and described it as a fabled land of wealth. The Mughal emperors and Mansabdars spent a great deal of their income on salaries and goods. This benefited the artisans and peasantry because they supplied goods and produce to the rulers. But the primary producers lived in poverty. They earned just enough money to feed themselves. In the late 17th century, the Mughal elites became more powerful. As the authority of Mughal emperors slowly declined, their servants became the center of power in some regions. They constituted new dynasties and held power in provinces like Hyderabad, Awadh, etc. But they continued their relationship with Mughal authority. But by the 18th century, these provinces consolidated their independent political identities. This is the end of this lesson. Thank you.